always correctly sized.
Oh, okay, so you don't need frame sets for that.
Yeah, and that's posted in your preview blog, your earlier.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. If you guys are using iframes,
you might want to get this on camera.
yeah, this is actually really important. Do you want to explain it actually? Because I didn't realize this, and that explains a lot of really bad CPA performances. Hold on, let me shut down. Give me a second.
Test, test, test. There we go. So yeah, there's one big, nasty, horrible, awful, dangerous caveat with iframes that a lot of people don't realize that could be the reason why some offers never back out and just don't convert, especially if it's like a second page submit and you got to get them to put their information on the second page for you to get paid and you don't make any money and you wonder why. An iframe, if you don't set it up right, the way the iframe codes that I see being thrown out there, posted on boards and things like that, have a fixed size for the frame. What that means is the frame is so high, and that first page looks great. Everything's where it's supposed to be. People can see the submit box. They can hit enter. Everything's cool. What you don't realize, unless you test it yourself, is the second page is now cut off by the iframe. And if you have disabled scroll bars, which I suspect most marketers probably do because we don't want people scrolling around. We just want them to stay right where we want them. They have no way to scroll down and put in their information. So they get to page 2 and they're like, what the hell is this thing? I can't do anything. Whatever, I'm out of here. And they're gone. And you don't ever know that that happened because you didn't look at page 2. You have no idea this is going on. So I always used frame sets for the longest time. I'm not even going to bother trying to get into the technical differences of iframes and frame sets. But the bottom line was that a frame set always showed the whole page, no matter what. They could scroll down. Everything was cool. But frame sets had some issues that made it difficult to put headlines above the frame set and other text below the frame set and stuff like that. So I finally recently found, I think actually with Carl's help, didn't you help me find that code? Yeah, it was Carl's help to find the right code that could properly handle. It was actually solving a traffic regenerator problem that simultaneously solved my iframe problem. And we finally have a proper iframe code that resizes itself so that no matter what page of the submit process they're on, they can see the whole page. They can get to everything. They can scroll down. They can do everything they need to do. So beware if you're using iframes. Always go through your first page. Go through as many pages as you can. I mean, I've never known a network that has a problem with you what they call seeding your offers. If you need to test your offer, put a bogus lead in. I'll use email addresses like test@test.com. I'll even tell my rep. I recently was doing some testing. I must have done 30 or 40 bogus leads in a day because I was trying to just test what was going on with the process of the conversion and where it was firing, all this kind of thing. I just told my rep. I put a bunch of bogus leads through today. They're all using email addresses like this. If you want to scrub me, knock yourself out. I don't mind. And they were just like, we don't care. Don't worry about it. So if you need to test things, well, and not if, you do need to test things. You need to test your offer process on every offer you're ever going to promote. Put in some bogus information. See what happens on page 2. See what happens on page 3. Know what the user is going to expect. And try it in different browsers. Critical. Try it in a minimum. Matt, you're laughing. he knows full well the hell of different browser issues. Try it at a bare minimum in Firefox and Internet Explorer, bare minimum. But to make it worse, you're going to get potentially different results in Internet Explorer 6, Internet Explorer 7, Internet Explorer 8, Firefox 2, Firefox 3, Opera, Chrome, Safari, Mac Firefox 2 versus Windows Firefox 2, Mac Firefox 3 versus Windows Firefox 3. No joke. They do not behave the same. You will have issues on all these different platforms, and it's a pain in the butt. But you better test, and if possible, track what kind of browsers your users are using. Because then ideally, I mean, if you know you've got 95% Windows Internet Explorer users, then, where are you going to waste a lot of time? Are you going to spend a ton of time optimizing for your three Safari visitors a day? Probably not. So it's a good idea to know maybe what browsers your users are using. But the most critical point is test your offer path. Go through it and know kind of what to expect. And you can generally safely assume that Windows Internet Explorer 7 is going to probably cover the majority of cases. So if you at least test that, you're probably okay most of the time. So
what's the iframe code that you talked about?
right now it's posted in Goher's early bird preview blog on the Power Regeneration Strategy post. I had to it wouldn't let me post HTML, so I changed the less than signs and greater than signs of all the HTML to left brackets and right brackets. Just the square brackets, so you'll need to just do a find replace for square bracket to greater than less than to make the code proper HTML. But it's posted right in there, and I'm sure Goher will probably include it in the course for everybody, so make it easy. So anyway, there you go, iframe lesson for the day.
John, to preview the different browser shots, website, will
Oh, will it really? Browsershots.com? I did not know that one. Browsershots.com. No kidding. Oh, that's awesome. Apparently, you load in your link, and it will show you a preview of what it will look like in all the different browsers. Now, that's great for a view of the first screen. Problem is, of course, that's not going to help you get past that first page, but still very handy to say, hey, is at least my first page, especially if it's your own landing page, because, one sec, Matt, I made a mistake once on a product that's my own product that's in ClickBank, and I didn't know this, but I had a malformed title tag on my sales page, on my sales letter. And every once in a while, I'd get emails from people who would say, oh, your page is blank, nothing loads. And I'm looking at them like, it's fine for me. I don't know. It must be a problem on your end. I don't know, whatever. This went on for months, like 4 months. Periodically, I would get emails from people. I see nothing wrong. I finally looked at it in Internet Explorer, because I'm a Firefox user 99% of the time. And in IE, blank page, completely blank page. Because, no, this was long before I knew you. Because I had an opening title tag, but not a closing title tag. And Firefox was smart enough to catch that and fix it and say, oops, this is supposed to have a closing title tag. No problem. We'll just display it correctly. Internet Explorer did not, and therefore all the code of my entire page was basically embedded inside the title tag. Therefore, it never showed up at all, and all Internet Explorer users got a blank white page for 4 months. I don't even like to think about how much I lost in sales because of one stupid thing, because I didn't look at it in Internet Explorer like a doofus. So, you know, don't tell me that, Roy. Shut up. Don't put it in numbers. It's going to make me depressed. So anyway, now. I was going to say, I guarantee whatever you're doing is 1,000 times better. So I want to get whatever you're using. Cool. Yeah, Matt is the guy for anything technical. I mean, anybody who thinks I'm some technical whiz, no. He's the guy.
Okay, so back to my story, the advertiser came and they said, well, we've already paid you for the email or zip submit, so why are you regenerating traffic that we now should technically control? So I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, right? So I go, just break the frame, right? They're like, we don't know how to break the frame, right? They said, either you break the frame or you figure out how to get rid of it or get rid of it completely. And I was in a panic because this thing was like bringing in like $1,000 a day, right? On free regenerated traffic. So what I did was I pinged Jonathan, and we found an iframe busting code. Okay, so first of all, here's rule number 1. Okay, when you're running traffic to the advertiser with Traffic Regenerator and you're iframing the CPA offer, don't tell them. Rule number 1. Okay, let it keep running until they say something. If they don't say anything, then why would you stop it, right? Because chances are most of us are iframing anyways. It's going through the whole process through our iframe anyways, right? But when it comes to a point, for whatever reason, if the network contacts you or the advertiser contacts you and they say, why are you doing that right through the whole iframe? Then you could see, especially if you're driving a lot of volume, if they'll allow you to, and this is what I did. I contacted the advertiser. I said, place this code on your second page submit. So for example, if it was an email submit, I told them to place this between the headers, and this code breaks the iframe. So what happens is, you still get to put Traffic Regenerator on the iframed CPA offer that you just sent the traffic through with Traffic Regenerator, but as soon as they submit their email or their zip, boom, the frame's broken. Because now they've paid you, now let them control the traffic, but don't say anything until they want it or whatever. Does that make sense? Okay, here's one of the biggest things about Traffic Regenerator, and I've spoken to Josh. He's all excited that I'm on board about Traffic Regenerator and that I'm going to announce it to all my pay-per-click formula people. So they're willing to have their programmers completely redesign Traffic Regenerator for our use. Okay? And one of the things that I told him is that he has to build in a feature that allows you to split test, because that would be huge. That's the whole fundamental strategy behind AdWords is you keep creating better performing ads, right? I said, you got to get split testing in, okay? So at this current moment, they don't have any split testing, but you can see the conversion numbers. If you can simply convert from 20% to 30% click-through rate on the Traffic Regenerator, you still get your 4% backing out for you on the CPA offer. it could be a difference of, on a $10 lead of $400 on every 10,000 clicks, okay? And I mean, to get from a 20% to a 30% click-through rate on a traffic regenerator banner is really not that hard. It's a matter of testing. Okay, maybe the crying baby didn't work. Okay, maybe screaming stop didn't quite work. Okay, maybe the beautiful girl worked or whatever. But going from 20 to 30 can make a difference between your profits, okay? Now, these guys are going to be working on adding that, but there still is a way to split test traffic regenerator, even though they don't allow you to split test within the program. And I'll show you how. What you're going to do is you're going to rotate multiple traffic regenerator campaigns using a rotating script, okay? So, for example, you could use another, like you could use PPV Dominator or AdTrax or something. What you're going to do is, instead of sending all the traffic to the one landing page with traffic regenerator, you're going to do it 50-50 split between two exact same landing pages, but different traffic regenerator creatives. Does that make sense? And pretty soon, you'll be able to determine what landing page is getting a higher click-through rate on the traffic regenerator banner. The only difference is the traffic regenerator banner, okay? That'll tell you how to do it. And one of the things I want to stress is that, you know, a lot of you guys are probably staring at me, scratching your head, looking at me with blank looks and saying, yeah, it's quite a bit of work. Yeah, of course it's a little bit of work, right? And that's why I said this morning to look at everybody and say, so sad, so sad. Because only a few of you are probably going to do this, because this involves putting a PPV code within a PPP, like a rotating code within a rotating code. You see what I'm saying? Which is possible, and which is very, very powerful to do that, okay? You're actually rotating within a rotator, if that makes any sense. But it's only going through this process that can make a difference between $1 a day to $500 a day, if you are disciplined to go this route. Guys like me are disciplined enough to go this route, okay? One of the biggest misconceptions, a guy's making $50,000, $100,000 a day, he must be running 100 CPA offers. Chances are he's running one or two. He's running one or two. And the reason for that is if you're running 100 offers, the most I've ever ran is probably 50, and that's confusing as hell. It's confusing, especially when you're doing your stats and it's already lunchtime, right? The other problem with that is when you got 50 offers running, you're way unfocused. You're like, okay, what should I do? Should I just do the football zip submit, or should I work on the Woo Yi or whatever? Whereas if you have 2 or 3 offers and you put your energy into those offers, you're going to see a lot more synergy and a lot more is going to happen with those offers than what's going to happen with trying to run 50. So don't go after 50 offers, okay? Take an offer, take one offer. If it's working, scale it up, ramp it up, exhaust all means of traffic. Find every 25-cent click on the planet that you can possibly find. And until you're comfortable enough that you've done that, then move on to offer number 2. Okay? I know you're going to get tempted when your affiliate manager calls you. Oh, they're killing it, man. Oh, my God. Holy cow. Holy smokes, right? You got to run this offer. And you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll get in there, right? You know, put in 2, 3 keywords. Nothing's happening, you know. But the point is, because building a campaign takes time. It takes effort, and it takes time, okay? So don't get distracted. If something's making you money, keep letting it make you money, all right?
Can I answer that, Gordon?
Go ahead. Let me just shut down. Give me a second. All right.
Yeah, I just wanted to completely agree with Gohar on that. Every single person, we know he's right, but I think every single person I know that's doing at least $10,000 a day net, they do it from, you could do that from a single offer. I've seen that. That's pretty common. I've never seen anyone have 200 offers in their pipeline, because then you have, like, imagine if you're a sales rep and you have 200 prospects you're chasing. You can't have a quality conversation with all of them. But if you have one offer that you really understand, and you understand the demographics, you understand all the little parts of it, you could scale that up to 10, 20, 30,000 a day. So I just want to let you know that I've seen plenty of people do that, and it's very possible.
Hey, Raj, there's your one. You've never seen one? There he is.
Hey, my name is Dan, and I'm a campaignaholic. I'm seriously. I have launched over 150 in a day, and I'm currently running about 2,000 offers. And I actually got out to where offers. I'm running about 2,000, probably 700 that are really, really cranking.
You do it very programmatically, right?
But yeah, I mean, I have a system, and I have to tell you, I'm gonna see Raj is only doing a few, and I'd rather be where he's at because I have to have, I have to keep hiring people to manage this crap, and offers expire, and when you have 2,000 of them, it's a nightmare to keep track of what's expiring, what was expired for a day and came back on, and to tell you the truth, it becomes dead weight. You're carrying dead weight targets, you're carrying dead weight campaigns, and it really overwhelms you. And OSR, which he was in the forums, I don't think he's here today, Emmanuel. His whole his whole deal is focus on one and build the thing out as big as you can. And I agree with that because when I really got started, I really had one campaign that had like 14 different, dollars. Dollar, I guess you could say, income sources, but I had those 14. I cranked them out to 24 different traffic sources, and then I kind of pared down to 5 traffic sources, and I got spoiled and comfortable in my 5 traffic sources, and then I just started getting these systems of busting out 150 campaigns a day. I even developed a spaghetti philosophy of throwing spaghetti against the wall and keeping what sticks and what doesn't. But I'm confessing today I'm going to go back down to paring down and doing fewer and more is less kind of thing. And then you're more focused, you can stay in the mind of your prospect, and you can just do a better job, and you're not so scattered. So
yeah, it's one last thought on that. It's an 80-20 rule. You're going to test. I've probably tested 700-800 offers in the past since I started doing this. After experience, if for any of you that are new, you have to do that. You have to kind of prospect a lot in the beginning, build up a pipeline, and then you'll probably get it down to 5 to 10 offers that are going to be solid. And I would say just focus on those. That's what I'm doing right now, and that's working pretty well.
Yeah, I think the 80-20 rule almost applies to everything. It applies to the campaigns you run. 80% will be the winners, and 20% will be the winners. 80% will be losers. Same thing with your keywords. Probably 20% of the keywords that you run are going to be responsible for your money. So, like you said, if you're a campaignaholic, you might want to scale down because there's so many problems with that. There's the problem with expired offers. Especially when you're doing workhorse and you start getting emails from people. Why are you sending me to an expired offer? I'm like, oh my God. You don't know because not everybody's going to tell you. And how can you track everything when you have an autoresponder with 52 emails, right? It's like it's better to pare it down, concentrate on a few offers, and then just kill it. Gregory?
Can you explain how to do this again? Because you talking about just building like 2 different landing pages with two different traffic regen codes. Is that what you're talking about?
Traffic Regenerator does not have a split testing tool, okay? The only way that you can split test with Traffic Regenerator is when you're sending traffic to the initial landing page, send it to 2 identical landing pages but with 2 different Traffic Regenerator codes, okay? Traffic Regenerator has a complete stats backend. You can see the click-through rate. You can even place conversion tags to see what's converting. You have complete control as far as, from a statistics point of view, of seeing what is working and what's not working with Traffic Regenerator. Okay, so keep that in mind. So just to wrap it up with Traffic Regenerator, I struck a deal with Josh. I said, number 1, give all my users a 21 free day trial. So now you guys have 21 free days to try this to see if it'll boost your CPA business or whatever business you're running. Like I said, if you're paying more than $1 a day, this is a must-get tool. And they will continue to start custom developing this tool for pay-per-click formula people. All we have to do is tell them what we need, and they will go out and they will do it for us. The bronze package right now is like $24.95. Regularly, it was like $39.95. Silver was regularly like $69 or something like that. Now he's brought it down to $35, and the gold was like $100 for 100 domains. He's brought it down to $70 for a pay-per-click formula customer. So if you're interested, go for the free trial, trafficregenerator.com/PPC formula, and give it a shot. Okay. The next big pillar of pay-per-click formula 2.0. There's not much about, there's a heavy emphasis on the content networks, not just Google, Yahoo, and MSN, because with all these PPC products coming out, I guess you guys have noticed all these different PPC products in the last couple of months coming out, there's very, very little emphasis on content network. and placement targeting and techniques and strategies on how to get more traffic on this. So I'm hoping as pay-per-click formula 2.0 develops, I'm going to be getting more stuff from, number one, you guys who are going to be out there testing to add back into the course, and from obviously some of the stuff that I'm testing on the course. If you're not doing, who is not doing any advertising on the content network and doing strictly search? Okay, so there's some people who are doing content traffic. Okay, good. It's good because number one, it's the largest advertising platform on the planet. Okay, literally. I have ran search campaigns where I can only get 20, 30 clicks a day with great quality scores, and then flipped it on the content network and gotten 5,000 clicks from the content network. Okay? And the reason why Google is the largest advertising platform on the planet is because every single day they are accepting thousands of websites into their AdSense program. Every single day, you're getting a new wave of websites coming into the program. Now, the way the content network works is Google determines where to place your ads based on your ads and your keywords. What happens is when people apply into the Google AdSense Publisher program, what Google does is they take that website and they generally throw it down into about 594 categories that they specifically specified. Okay? So they'll take an AdSense Publisher, they'll place it into that category. So the way the Google bot works, or the Google Content bot works, is it looks at your ads, it looks at your keywords, and it kind of tries to find a theme. A theme of your ads, a theme of your keywords, and then kind of find a category that matches that theme. And that's why you start ending up on pages that are targeted, and in some cases, pages that are not targeted. And you're wondering why. It's because the bot's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. The only way to get perfect is to start doing placement targeting, which if most, how many people are doing placement targeting? Okay, there's a good amount there. The one thing about Google Content Network that you gotta love is their quality score is not nearly as rigid as it is on the search network. And the reason why I'm putting a heavy emphasis on getting out image ads on the content network because it's virtually impossible to apply a quality score to image ads because Google does not have the technology to see what's in your image. Okay? It goes through a human review. Okay? The only thing that Google can gauge an image ad on the content network as far as quality is concerned is the click-through rate. Okay? So you don't have to deal with relevancy, you don't have to deal with this, you don't have to deal with that. Google only can go off the click-through rate. So what's your job? Your job is to create a killer image ad that gets a high click-through rate. That's why it's especially important to continually be split testing image ads on the content network because the higher your click-through goes up, the more impressions that Google's going to give you. And there's other more reasons why you should be using image ads on the content. How many people are using image ads on the content network? Okay, just a handful. Okay. This is also something that Perry Marshall talked about 2-3 years ago that I should have listened to back there. I probably would have made more money. But I was lazy back then. I was more into direct linking, and I was more into, take the AdWords formula and just split the traffic within the same campaign to search and content and just measure from there. Perry talked about the different mindsets of the Google Search Network and the Google Content Network. And once again, this same topic came up in Wholesale Traffic Secrets for some of you that are in that with Ryan Dice and Perry Belcher. They talked about a different mindset. When it comes to search marketing, it really is permission marketing because people are actively looking for whatever you have to offer, right? They have an acne problem. They're talking acne relief when they're typing it into search. And lo and behold, there you are. It's almost like permission marketing. You're saying, hey, here I am. You search for me. Click on my ad. Give me permission to advertise to you, okay? Whereas with the content network, it's almost a entirely different game because here you are. Now you're buried within content, okay? You're stuck within content. The person's not he's not really, or she's not really looking for what you have to advertise. So now you're fighting, number one, the content, and number two, if you're using text ads on the content network, you're fighting 3 other competitors who are either above you, sandwiching you, or right at the bottom of you, depending on what your ranking is, okay? So there's a lot of distractions. So you really, on the content network, you really need to scream out, you really need to stand out with your ads. So it's a different set of writing ads, one specifically for search and one specifically for content. And that's why headlines like, hey fatso and stuff like that work much better on the content network than they would on the search network. Does that make sense? The other reason why a lot of super affiliates are turning strictly to content network and getting out of search completely is because there's a hell of a lot less stress building content network campaigns than there is search campaigns, okay? Because, like I said, you can build an entire $1 million affiliate business just off the content network, okay? You don't have to deal with, you know, Google's doing a massive update at 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, not knowing what's going to happen to all your search campaigns the next day. Did they change something about the silo structure? Did they all of a sudden realize, okay, your content's coming from Easy Articles, GoArticles.com. We're going to, you know, you're not giving a good user experience. We're going to shut you down. You don't know. We all don't know what the next thing is. We don't, okay? And it's been evolving every single slap. The first slap was easy. You could throw up 5 articles, everything was fine. Second slap, okay, terms and conditions, privacy policy, contact link. Okay, third slap, everything has to link together. Okay, fourth slap, you have to have inbound links, outbound links, this link to get a better quality score, and all these variables. It doesn't exist on the content network, okay? You can direct link with image ads. You can just, you know, stick out an image ad right off the networks, too. You can just go right into your CPA network. They have all the creatives that are normally used for web publishers. Why not pull them and throw them on the content network and just test, right? See, there you are on the search network. Free insurance quote. They're specifically looking for what you have to offer, right? Here's an image ad right on the content network. This is an article about sleep problems. And you see what the image ad is. Get to sleep in 15 minutes every night, okay? Sleep problems. It's engaging the user. It's asking the user a question. It's saying something. It's only problem is on the content network. Now you're competing with him. AIG. You're competing with, these guys won't be running banners pretty soon, okay?
I don't think I would take their guaranteed insurance. I don't know about that.
I don't know about that, man. They'll have an AIG bonuses banner soon, don't worry. And then there's you, and then there's obviously the article that the person's reading, okay? So there's all these distractions that you're fighting. It's almost like you're in a classroom with about 35-year-olds, okay? Where, you know, there's just way too many distractions, too many things to concentrate on. So you really, really need to stand out, okay?
Also, notice what both the one on the left and the top banner say in the ad that you can't do in your normal PPC ads.
Click here, yeah. And I'll tell you another way how to really get, it's not really, I wouldn't use the word ethical. I would say it's not really well looked upon. It's just something. Yeah. It's aggressive, yeah. It's aggressive. It's aggressive marketing. That's what we're all doing, right? Okay. Why am I pointing at that? Okay. Same thing. Now here we have text ads. Now you're also competing against other people and you're not standing out. Do you see what I'm saying? It gets more harder. Who's running AdSense ads on their websites? Anybody in the AdSense program? I don't know about you guys. Have you noticed clicks like dramatically drop the last couple of years and bid prices completely drop and everything just fall out and just gone? Yeah. I think there's this thing developing. It's called Google blindness now, Google banner blind. Everybody's seen them now, right?
One thing that you mentioned, Goer, in your pre-launch was that the text ads were getting like 3 times better click-throughs. You can do the same thing and create what looks like a text ad.
Yeah, the image ads.
In the whole space as a graphic.
I'm getting there, dude.
Okay.
Getting there. Yeah. Here's the problem with the content network, though. We all know that there's guys who are gaming the AdSense game. So you guys have to understand there's going to be more fraud on the content network. But you will notice the bids are dramatically cheaper on the content network. And when I get into, did you guys see my video on international traffic? Who put up your hand if you saw that video on international traffic? There's a gold mine. There's a gold mine of cheap traffic out there. I'll show you how I got 1.6 million clicks for a penny each, okay? The content network has literally, it has too much traffic. It's foolish not to use a content network because it's just incredible when you start getting 10 million impressions a night. 10 million impressions.
Do you do text ads on the content network anymore?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I still do text ads. I'll tell you why. There's a good, really, really good reason for that. This is just a handful of, this is just one account. From February 5th to February 23rd, so it was recent. I don't put screenshots from 2 years ago. It's pointless. You'll see here, these are the conversions. So there's probably, what, 10,000 conversions between this period. This is all content network traffic. Strictly content network traffic. And I would have not have got those 10,000 conversions if Google hadn't given me 20 million impressions or 13 million, whatever that totals, okay? There's a lot of traffic. You can see my cost per conversion. 93 cents, $1.25, $1.77, 66 cents. So now, when you're pushing $3, $4 offers, it adds up pretty quick. It adds up pretty quick because this is cheap traffic on the content network. Cheap traffic. All you have to do is keep creating better performing ads. Google will throw it out there because now you're dominating. And I'll show you how to dominate with the image ads and giving you more and more impressions. And you're continually split testing. And there's, before you know it, it's just going crazy. OK, now what I talked about in when I was talking about, when I was talking about the AdWords formula is dead, you never, ever, ever want to use that formula anymore, OK? What you're going to do, and this is the new mindset if you're not doing it, every single campaign you create, you're going to create a campaign for search, you're going to create a campaign for content, OK? Believe it or not, I now do search, content, placement. I have 3 distinct campaigns, OK? And I name them like, let's say, acne-search, acne-content, acne-placement. So I know what it's for. For search, you set it to search only. For content, you set it to content only. And I don't know about, I know that Google has this new iPhone option or whatever, but I've been shutting that down. I just don't think there's enough people on the iPhones who are going to convert, so you don't want to be wasting impressions on that. Unless somebody's had success and measured that with iPhones, I have no idea. Have you?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
OK, we'll talk about that later. Individual keyword bidding is useless on the content network. I mean, people talk about exact, broad, and phrase. It doesn't exist on the content network. Okay, contrary to what you hear, people might be getting different results. From Google, I heard it right from Google, it doesn't matter. You don't need to, you can have everything as broad. And second of all, they don't look at the keywords when they're placing your ads. They look at the entire theme of the ad group. Okay, so it's not on an individual keyword basis.
I have tested. I've taken an ad group and duplicated it. I actually have duplicated an ad group and done broad exact phrase, and I've noticed that all of them brought in impressions. Yeah. I don't know if it's different traffic or if it's rotating in some way. So I've found that I was able to get traffic, and by adding other ad groups with the phrase and exact, I don't know if it's unique or I don't really know much other than I see the numbers. But another thing where phrase is, the one area where phrase is actually useful, and I learned this from Ryan Deese, is targeting an actual title of a news article, where you're targeting like 5 or 6 characters, and it's very targeted. 5 or 6 words. Or, yeah, 5 or 6 words, sorry. So you know it's only showing up where that phrase exists, which is basically your buying article syndication. So that's the one area I think phrase is useful, but otherwise I've always used broad.
Well, then maybe it comes down to testing. Maybe I don't know why Google's telling me it doesn't really matter. Yeah. It just comes down to individual testing. Yeah. But one thing you got to do, if you're ever doing content network traffic, you have to have your Google conversion pixel placed. You have to. It's a must. For the guys who are doing content network traffic, put up your hand. How many of you have your pixels placed? Keep your hand up. Oh, a lot of hands went down. Okay? You got to have your pixel placed. Okay? It's a must. All right?
But I would suggest don't send keywords to the network.
I don't think there's going to be keywords on the content network.
Oh, okay.
Not on the content network.
Yeah.
On search, yeah, it's a different story. Then your affiliate manager's driving a BMW next week. Yeah. I've had that, believe me.
I just want to add to that. This is really why I've found that putting the pixel is so important, because after you have that placed, you'll see, and then you run what's called a placement report in Google AdWords.
Come on, man. You're destroying my thunder, man.
I'm done. I didn't see it there. Bing, 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 bing. I don't see it.
And the reason why, number one reason why you need to have your pixel placed is because Google's not perfect, okay? They are going to do bad placements of your ads. And they're going to continually do bad placements of your ads until you tell them to stop, okay? And how are you going to tell them to stop? If you don't know, you got to have your pixel placed. And I'll tell you about the placement report. You can run a report called the placement report. And what that report tells you is it tells you specifically by domain and by web page where the conversion came from and how it converted. You can literally weed out the websites that are showing bad traffic by using site inclusion in your content network account. What site inclusion allows you to do is to block domains. Okay? So all of a sudden your cost per conversion is $10. You realize half the websites are sending you garbage traffic. You shut down half of them. Guess what? Your cost of conversion now is $5. Extremely, extremely important, okay? Before I talk about placement targeting, let's talk about text ads versus image ads. Here's the reason why you should always have text ads and image ads in your content network account. Everything, okay? Because there's websites on Google AdSense that only accept text ads. There's websites on AdSense that only accept image ads. And then there's websites that accept both. As traffic brokers, you want to max out every conceivable amount of inventory as you can possibly. So what does that entail? That entails text ads and every single variation of every single image ad creative that there is. It's a 728 by 90, 300 by 250. The other 7, I think there's 7 altogether, I think.
All in the same ad groups?
Yes. Yes. Maximize it, right? Because there's going to be one website only showing 125s by 125s, right? There's going to be some websites that are only showing 728 by 90s, the leaderboard ads, right? If you only have a 300 by 250, how are you going to get into the leaderboard? You're there to grab it all. So why not, right? Usually most of the CP networks are good. They usually have all the creatives. They usually have if they don't have it, guess what? Load up your paint program, set your pixels 728 by 90, and start creating an ad. Start creating an ad, okay? This will give you the ability to get more impressions, okay?
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
I'll give you thunder before I start talking.
Sure, go ahead.
I learned this from Goer, but his big deal with, basically, if you can't track it, don't do it kind of thing is the mentality. I don't know if you said those words specifically, but you just said a second ago to break out content and search, but I'd also say take it even further. If you go international, I go to all the 5 major English-speaking countries and even go to some Latin American stuff too, but I break out stuff even by country, ad groups, and I actually have campaigns where there's just one target, one keyword. And because sometimes, a certain group might work in a certain country and convert better, and it won't in another. And although you could do the reporting in Google, I don't always do that. So it's easier just to break out, UK, Australia, New Zealand, all in their own separate campaigns and have the pixels so you know what's converting for each country. So as much as you can. And also your ads. Like for example, I was doing a diet offer, and I didn't realize, being an American, that people don't talk about losing pounds in the UK. It's losing stones, right? So you can create separate ads for your countries, even though you're targeting the same offers. It still applies to that demographic, but how you relate to that person may be different. So you might even have different ads for different countries, and as long as you separate it out, you can track everything. So.
Well, it's so easy to replicate your ad groups in AdWords Editor.
Yeah, it's really easy.
Copy paste.
So why not?
Will the placement report tell you which country the traffic's?
Yes, you can run reports by country. Yeah, and that's a good point Dan brings, that I separate all my campaigns out by country because I got sick and tired of getting emails from my affiliate manager. They're not accepting UK traffic anymore. It's like, oh, man. But like they said, it's really easy to do with AdWords desktop editor. Copy, paste, boom, change the country. That's it, you're all set. You can do that with image ads. You can do that with all your text ads. It literally takes 1 minute. Okay, good point, Dan. The biggest difference between text ads and image ads, with text ads, guess what? You're lumped in with other text ads. Now you're fighting 3 other guys, right? Or 2 other guys, or 1 other guy, which can be a problem. But with image ads, I think it was, Roger, were you saying this? Or Dan was saying it, now you control the entire block, okay? Google can't show more than 1 image ad because you're a set pixel rate. You're a set size, right? So Google can only display you versus your competitor. So by going to image ads, you've just wiped out 3 of your competitors. You're not fighting your 3 competitors anymore, okay? Because you control the entire block. Text ads must be written to have your ads stand apart. You have to engage the reader. Like Rod said, scream out, hey, get their attention. Yell at them, scream at them. Have crazy headlines. I mean, it's not the same as search because you can offend people on the content network because it's the content network. On search, they're specifically looking for something. This one, and I like how Raj put this, you want to start the conversation, okay? You're not trying to sell them in the image ad, okay? Just start the conversation, okay? Are you in debt? Something like that. Like ask a question, engage them, start them. And always split test different variations of your ad on the content network, because one day you can be getting 1 million impressions, and if your click-through rate falls like 0.00001% below the guy in the 4th position, guess what? Boom. You're down to 10 impressions a day, and you're wondering why. Yep. Hold on one sec.
Test. There we go. I don't know if you've tried this or not, but and I think Dan hinted at this a little while ago. But with we're sort of used to seeing AdSense ads, which is like the four different ads or 4 different people, 4 different advertisers. But of course, an image ad, you control the whole ad, and it's just you, and so forth. But there's no reason you can't make your image ad look just like an AdSense ad. It's exactly the same. It looks just like AdSense. But what if all 4 of those ads were yours? You effectively get the power of 4 different headlines, 4 different PPC ads in the same ad block. And if any one of those speaks to your people, so go 4 totally different approaches, 4 totally different types of ad, because you just don't know which one's going to speak to that person. All it takes is one, because the fact is they're all you. It's one block. So it doesn't matter which one they click. They think, oh, I like that 3rd one. That's interesting. It really didn't matter because it's all just one block anyway, but it looks like 4 distinct ads with 4 distinct sets of copy. 4 for the price of 1. I mean.
And a tip on that too, Google has their CSS link.
Google has their CSS link right on their homepage. You can kind of model.
That's true.
You can steal it, really, and model your ads right off their CSS. So you can make your little image look exactly like an AdSense ad. I wouldn't use Google down there because they'll catch you. But you can make your image ad look just like a block of text ads and own that spot.
Yep.
Yeah. I was just implementing what we're learning here. And
He's already got results.
yeah, well, no, I just found a technique that will save everyone a lot of time. If you don't have image ads to work with and the CPA network happens to have good image ads, you can just take all those, save the images on your, in a folder on your desktop, and then go into AdWords Editor and under the image ad tabs, and if you haven't done image ads, you wouldn't have seen this. They just added this, recently. You can bulk upload image ads. So you can upload like 50 banners in, I could just do it right now. So check that out if you haven't done it already. Doing it manually will take a lot of time. This will probably save you hours.
Okay. Yep.
On the content network, so you might be running as little as just a text ad or as much as a big leaderboard banner. How does that affect what you're bidding, or does it?
I'll talk about that, my experience with that. So in the next couple of slides, I'll tell you what happened. I couldn't figure it out until Google technicians had to get involved. And once they sent me an email that revealed how their algorithm works, that really opened up my eyes. And I'll share that with all of you. Negative keywords. Throw in negative keywords into your campaign if you know that you're showing up on pages you shouldn't be showing up. For example, if you're promoting dating or whatever, generally dating ads get put on a lot of adult websites. So you might want to, perverts don't generally convert. So if you want to
depends entirely on what you're showing.
well, it depends on what you're promoting, right? Depends on what you're promoting. So if you want to start, putting negative keywords like porn and sex and XXX, you can do that and put that into the content network, okay? Okay, this happened to me probably about 2 months ago. I was running 4 really, really successful content campaigns on Google. I was doing millions of impressions and thousands of clicks a day. And then all of a sudden, it just stopped. I know some of you had the same experience, right? And I couldn't figure it out. And I thought that I had been slapped silly on the content network. But something was really, really bizarre. Every day for 1 hour, my campaigns on the content network would turn off, and then they'd shut off for the rest of the day. I wasn't maximizing my budget, nowhere near. I could not figure this out, but it was driving me up the wall, okay? And I didn't want to call Google, because anytime you call Google, they go through your Google campaigns. And there's quite a few things I did not want them to see. But when all of a sudden thousands of dollars stop, you get desperate and you just say, okay, if Google's going to hold me to this, I'll stop that, right? To get a couple of $1,000s back. So I called Google, and they said they can't see anything off initially looking at the campaign, but they'll contact me. So then next couple of days, same thing's happening. The campaigns are turning on for 15 minutes, 1 hour, then shutting off for the rest of the day. So she got her email. It popped into my email box. And I was just like, you're clicking on, oh God, what are they going to say, right? You don't give a good user experience, so we're going to shut you down, and that's why your ad's not appearing. But surprisingly, she said that they've gone through my entire content network campaigns, and they can't see what the problem is. They don't know why this is happening. They've turned it over to the Google technicians, okay? So then I waited a couple of days, and then I got this email. And I'm going to read out this email to you because it was a complete revelation to me when I got this email. That really made sense, okay? This is what she wrote. So she's talking blah, 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 blah. In addition, the technical specialist informed me that the fact that you have both text and image ads located in some of your ad groups could also impact the serving of your ads. Okay, rule number 1 now. Your image ads and your text ads, separate ad groups, separate campaigns, okay? If you have a text ad and an image ad in the same ad group, the AdWords system will analyze multiple factors on each Google Network content site page to determine whether your text or image ad is more appropriate for that page. If the system finds that the image ad is more appropriate to place on the content site, then the image ad will be placed in the action. Because an image ad takes up the entire ad, here's the important part. Because an image ad takes up the entire ad unit on a site in our content network, instead of being on one of the 4 text ads on a page, we use an effective CPM or eCPM model to rank all the ads in the auction. As always, the highest ranking ads will be served to our users. If this happens to be an image ad, this means that the ad has to have an eCPM that is greater than the sum of the next 4 ads it outranks. Whoa. Revelation. Therefore, a slight decrease in bids could result in your image ads not showing at all. For this reason, if you still notice impression fluctuations within your content campaigns, we advise you to separate your text ads and image ads into separate ad groups or campaigns in order to try to even out the distribution of your ads. Wow. That was a revelation to me. She also went on to go in the email and say, we also determined 4 days ago you dropped your bids by 1 penny for all your image ads. That was me trying to, every penny counts, right? It dropped from millions down to 10,000. 1 penny. 1 penny. Because the algorithm says, okay, dude, if you want the entire block, we'll give you the entire block. But we're going to look at the next sum of the next 4 text ads. So for example, text ad number 1, $30 on every 1,000 impressions. Ad number 2, $15. Ad number 3, $10. Ad number 4, $5. What does that total up to? Like $60 per eCPM? Your image ad better be giving Google more than $60 eCPM for every 1,000 impressions in order, of course, this is Google.
Because they get 4 shots. Right?
This is Google trying to maximize their real estate. They want the best value for their money, and it makes sense. Okay.
It might not even be your drop. It could be their increase.
It could be anything, and that's why there's so many fluctuations on the content network. You fall from 4th to 5th, boom. You're even practically off the block half the time, right? It happens. That's why sometimes on the content network, I'm constantly monitoring my ad position. Okay, am I above 4? Because if I'm not above 4, throughout the day, I'm going to fall off. I'm going to fall off.
Well, and since we talked about this little sneaky text image thing,
Yep.
that gives you 4 chances to get a click too.
Yeah.
Right? You can write 4 different ads.
Well, you'd have to test that. You could do 4 ads, distract them 4 different ways, and it might work. Or you could create one kick-ass ad and try to keep, I mean, with the 4 different ads, that might be a little bit hard to split test. I don't know how you'd split test that. You would have so many permutations, maybe switching number 3 into the number 1 position. Because you know how on a medium block, chances are the first ad's going to get a higher click-through rate than it's just from the eyes, right? You generally read down or whatever, right? Yeah. Hold on, let me just shut down the mic. Okay.
Some people are bidding CPM and some people are bidding CPC for the same space, correct? So how does that filter in?
Well, if people are bidding CPC and Google's making a $20 eCPM, then whoever is bidding on CPM, you better be bidding $20 for every 1,000 impression. Who the hell pays for that now, right? Nobody does that. I don't advise bidding on CPM. I don't know. Who's bidding on CPM? Anybody doing CPM? Okay, Raj. I don't do CPM. I'll only tell you when to do CPM. you stick with CPC because, guys, we're in a return on investment business, okay? Unless you can determine that it's cheaper because you have some kick-ass click-through rate, that it makes sense to go to CPM and bid 25 cents for every 1,000 impression, that is the only way I'd go to CPM. Or if you're trying to do branding. I don't know, you're getting a divorce and you want to get back at your wife. My wife is a slut. And you got the banner all over the internet because you want to brand it. You want the whole world to know or whatever, right? No, it happens. Some guy did that, by the way. He rented a billboard. He wanted to get back at his wife. It happened. I saw it. There was an article. Some woman wanted to get back at her husband, so she put up a billboard. Thanks for cheating on me with my best friend. Put out his name, put out his phone number, put everything, right? It's a branding thing, right?
You can determine, the important thing, though, is you can determine your own eCPM.
Yes.
If you know how to do that.
If you know how to do that, yeah.
Does it make more sense for me to go CPM or CPC?
Just add a little thing to that.
This is.
Actually says to do that.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Just add a little.
Sorry, hold on. Let me shut down.
In the campaigns I've used, CPM as a pricing model have been ones I've tested with CPC, and I was able to drive my effective cost per click below 1 cent using CPM. And usually the click-through rates need to be above 10 or 15%. And you can determine that by I've done this using placement targeting. It's based on the AdWords 180 formula. It's worked pretty well.
Okay, so what do? From this email, I changed a lot of things what I did. I split my image ads and my text ads into separate ad groups and ad campaigns. Remember, your image ads, CPM should be higher than the next 4 text ads. So what do? When I am throwing out image ads, you naturally bid higher because you want Google to start throwing those impressions. And when you're doing that, what do? You immediately start split testing, okay? A lot of you might think it's a daunting task to get a high click-through rate on an image ad. It's not. You control the entire block. You control the entire real estate. You can dominate. I have had image ads have a 4 times higher click-through rate than on a text ad. And anytime you're doing that, guess what? Google's going to keep rewarding you. So constantly split test image ads. Then we move into the next great thing, Google placement targeting, okay? Now here's the beauty of the Google placement targeting campaign. It's almost like doing media buys on particular websites. Any website that's within the AdSense program, you can pretty much advertise. And any website, when you do a search for, you notice how you see AdSense ads on a website, then you type it into Google placement targeting, and you type in the website and it says you can't find the website, and you're sitting there going, I swore I saw Google ads on that website. You can't figure it out. Still throw in the website. Still throw it in, because I noticed if you still throw it in, you still get impressions on the website. I don't know why Google's saying it doesn't exist, but it does. The one thing I love about the placement targeting, it gives you much greater control over the content network, because now basically, instead of having this little Google bot go through all the categories, all the themes, try to figure out, okay, what's working, what's not working, you can come back and say, you know, this is where I want the ad to be placed on this particular website. You can also bring it all the way down to the particular web page, and that's fairly simple. You don't only have to bid on domains. I mean, initially when you're setting up your campaigns, it only allows you to bid on domains. It doesn't allow you to bid on web pages. You bid on your domains, you go back into your ad group, and you go into the edit feature for the domains you're bidding on, wipe them all out, put whatever web pages you want to target. You don't have to target because if you want to bid on about.com for dieting, you don't want all of about.com. You want about.com/dieting/ any dieting related article. Okay? The only thing I noticed is it doesn't work for URLs that have commas in it. Okay? I tried to go full blown all over Food Network, but I couldn't do it because it has commas in the URL. For some reason, Google is not noticing it and saying it's not a qualified URL. Like I mentioned, you have a choice between paying 25 cents per ECM or paying on a CPC basis. Go CPC for best returns. We're not in it for branding. We're in it for ROI. Unless you have a kick-ass click-through rate, I would avoid it. Use both text ads and image ads, as some websites accept only one or both, and max out all inventory. So number one, get on the content network, do image ads, do text ads. Then get on the start doing placement targeting. One of the things I noticed is image ads still tend to outpull text ads, and once again, you control the ad block, okay? So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to test, when you're setting up an image ad, you're going to want to test a pure image ad versus images that appear to be a text ad, okay? So some of you guys were wondering about that. If you know how you go to a web page and some guy's got a text ad and they're covering the whole entire block and you're scratching your head saying, why is Google only showing one text ad? That's pretty inefficient. It's not a text ad. It's an image ad made to look like a text ad. Because generally, people still think that text ads could, and it still does in some cases, sometimes text ads still out-convert image ads. So what they do, they replicate the text ad. They go into a paid program, they replicate the text ad. And some guys even take a screenshot of a text ad in a Google AdSense place and then just cut and paste. And it looks exactly like a Google text ad. But it's really an image ad, and you control the entire block.